Good day to you all, and welcome to this 6th day of March. It is day 65 in our journey through the Bible. Hello to everyone out there. My name is Hunter. I am your brother, somebody who shows up with you every day to spend some time together in the pages of the Bible. That's right, we're going to spend some time in God's Word, and we're going to let His Word spend some time on us. And oh, how we need that, no doubt about that. I'm coming to you from the beautiful land of Oregon, and you are right where you're at, wherever that is in the world. You've got sisters and brothers all around the world that are coming together with you today to listen to these same passages of the Bible. They're opening up their hearts, their minds, that both might be renewed, to train our hearts and minds in the ways of Jesus, the ways of life, in the way of love. So I'm glad you're here, my friends. I'm glad that you're continuing on in this journey. You made it a goal at the beginning of the year, many of you, and you're still at it. Way to go. Well, today we're going to go into the book of Deuteronomy, chapters 3 and 4, then on to Psalm 36, and we'll finish our reading in Mark's Gospel, chapter 13. This is the word of the Lord. Deuteronomy chapter 3. Next we turned and headed for the land of Bashan, where King Og and his entire army attacked us at Edrei. But the Lord told me, "Do not be afraid of him, for I have given you victory over Og and his entire army, and I will give you all his land. Treat him just as you treat King Sihon of the Amorites, who ruled in Heshbon." So the Lord our God handed King Og and all his people over to us, and we killed them all. Not a single person survived. We conquered all 60 of his towns, the entire Argob region, in his kingdom of Bashan. Not a single town escaped our conquest. These towns were all fortified with high walls and barred gates. We also took many unwalled villages at the same time. We completely destroyed the kingdom of Bashan, just as we had destroyed King Sihon of Heshbon. We destroyed all the people in every town we conquered, men, women, and children alike. But we kept all the livestock for ourselves, and took plunder from all the towns. So we took the land with the 2 Amorite kings east of the Jordan River, all the way from the Arnon Gorge to Mount Harmon. Mount Harmon is still called Sirion by the Sidonians, and the Amorites call it Senir. We had now conquered all the cities of the plateau, and all Gilead and Bashan, as far as the towns of Selekah and Edrei, which were part of Og's kingdom in Bashan. King Og of Bashan was the last survivor of the giant Rephaites. His bed was made of iron and was more than 13 feet long and 6 feet wide. It can still be seen in the Amorite city of Rabbah. When we took possession of this land, I gave to the tribes of Reuben and Gad the territory beyond Aroer, along the Arnon Gorge, plus half the hill country of Gilead and its towns. Then I gave the rest of Gilead and all of Bashan, Og's former kingdom, to the half-tribe of Manasseh. This entire Argob region of Bashan used to be known as the land of the Rephaites. Jair, a leader from the tribe of Manasseh, conquered the whole Argob region in Bashan, all the way to the border of the Geshurites and Maacathites. Jair renamed this region after himself, calling it the towns of Jair, as it is still known today. I gave Gilead to the clan of Machir. But I also gave part of Gilead to the tribe of Reuben and Gad. The area I gave them extended from the middle of the Arnon Gorge in the south to the Jabbok River on the Ammonite frontier. They also received the Jordan Valley, all the way from the Sea of Galilee down to the Dead Sea, with the Jordan River serving as the western boundary. To the east were the slopes of Pisgah. At that time I gave this command to the tribes that would live east of the Jordan: "Although the Lord your God has given you this land as your property, all your fighting men must cross the Jordan ahead of your Israelite relatives, armed and ready to assist them. Your wives, children, and numerous livestock, however, may stay behind in the towns I have given you. When the Lord has given security to the rest of the Israelites, as he has to you, and when they occupy the land the Lord your God is giving them across the Jordan River, then you may return here to the land I have given you." At that time I gave Joshua this charge: "You have seen for yourself everything the Lord your God has done to these 2 kings. He will do the same to all the kingdoms on the west side of the Jordan. Do not be afraid of the nations there, for the Lord your God will fight for you. At that time I pleaded with the Lord and said, O sovereign Lord, you have only begun to show your greatness and the strength of your hand to me, your servant. Is there any God in heaven or on earth who can perform such great and mighty deeds as you do? Please let me cross the Jordan to see the wonderful land on the other side, the beautiful hill country and the Lebanon mountains. But the Lord was angry with me because of you, and he would not listen to me. That's enough, he declared. Speak of it no more, but go up to Pisgah Peak and look over the land in every direction. Take a good look. But you may not cross the Jordan River. Instead, commission Joshua and encourage and strengthen him, for he will lead the people across the Jordan. He will give them all the land you now see before you as their possession. So we stayed in the valley near Beth Peor. Deuteronomy 4. And now, Israel, listen carefully to these decrees and regulations that I am about to teach you. Obey them so that you may live, so you may enter and occupy the land that the Lord, the God of your ancestors, is giving you. Do not add to or subtract from these commands I am giving you. Just obey the commands of the Lord your God that I am giving you. You saw for yourself what the Lord did to you at Baal Peor. There the Lord your God destroyed everyone who had worshipped Baal, the god of Peor. But all of you who are faithful to the Lord your God are still alive today, every one of you. Look, I now teach you these decrees and regulations, just as the Lord my God commanded me, so that you may obey them in the land that you are about to enter and occupy. Obey them completely, and you will display your wisdom and intelligence among the surrounding nations. When they hear of all these decrees, they will exclaim, "How wise and prudent are the people of this great nation!" For what great nation has a God as near to them as the Lord our God is near to us whenever we call on him? And what nation has decrees and regulations as righteous and fair as this body of instructions that I am giving you today? But watch out. Be careful never to forget what you yourselves have seen. Do not let these memories escape from your mind as long as you live, and be sure to pass them on to your children and grandchildren. Never forget the day when you stood before the Lord your God at Mount Sinai, where he told me, "Summon the people before me, and I will personally instruct them. Then they will learn to fear me as long as they live, and they will teach their children to fear me also." You came near and stood at the foot of the mountain, while flames from the mountain shot into the sky. The mountain was shrouded in black clouds and deep darkness, and the Lord spoke to you from the heart of the fire. You heard the sound of his words, but didn't see his form. There was only a voice. He proclaimed his covenant, the 10 Commandments, which he commanded you to keep, and which he wrote on 2 stone tablets. It was at that time that the Lord commanded me to teach you his decrees and regulations, so that you would obey them in the land you are about to enter and occupy. But be very careful. You did not see the Lord's form on the day he spoke to you from the heart of the fire at Mount Sinai. So do not occupy yourselves by making an idol in any form, whether of a man or a woman, an animal on the ground, a bird in the sky, a small animal that scurries along the ground, or a fish in the deepest sea. And when you look up into the sky and see the sun, moon, and stars, all the forces of heaven, don't be seduced into worshiping them. The Lord your God gave them to all the peoples of the earth. Remember that the Lord rescued you from the iron smelting furnace of Egypt in order to make you his very own people and his special possession, which is what you are today. But the Lord was very angry with me because of you. He vowed that I would not cross the Jordan River into the good land the Lord your God is giving you as your special possession. You will cross the Jordan to occupy the land, but I will not. Instead, I will die here on the east side of the river. So be careful not to break the covenant the Lord your God has made with you. Do not make idols of any shape or form, for the Lord your God has forbidden this. The Lord your God is a devouring fire. He is a jealous God. In the future, when you have children and grandchildren, and have lived in the land for a long time, do not corrupt yourselves by making idols of any kind. This is evil in the sight of the Lord your God, and will arouse his anger. Today I call on heaven and earth as a witness against you. If you break my covenant, you will quickly disappear from the land you are crossing the Jordan to occupy. You will live there only a short time. Then you will be utterly destroyed. For the Lord will scatter you among the nations, where only a few of you will survive. There in a foreign land, you will worship idols made from wood and stone, gods that neither see nor hear nor eat or smell. But from there you will search again for the Lord your God. And if you search for him with all your heart and soul, you will find him. In the distant future, when you are suffering all these things, you will finally return to the Lord your God and listen to what he tells you. For the Lord your God is a merciful God. He will not abandon you or destroy you or forget the solemn covenant he made with your ancestors. Now search all of history from the time God created people on earth until now, and search from one end of the heavens to the others. Has anything as great as this ever been seen or heard before? Has any nation ever heard the voice of God speaking from fire, as you did, and survived? Has any other God dared to take a nation for himself out of another nation by means of trials, miraculous signs, wonders, war, a strong hand, a powerful armed and terrifying axe? Yet that is what the Lord your God did for you in Egypt, right before your eyes. He showed you these things so you would know that the Lord is God and there is no other. He let you hear his voice from heaven so he could instruct you. He let you see his great fire here on earth so he could speak to you from it. Because he loved your ancestors, he chose to bless their descendants, and he personally brought you out of Egypt with a great display of power. He drove out nations far greater than you, so he could bring you in and give you their land as your special possession, as it is today. So remember this and keep it firmly in mind. The Lord is God both in heaven and on earth, and there is no other. If you obey all the decrees and commands I am giving you today, all will be well with you and your children. I am giving you these instructions so you will enjoy a long life in the land the Lord your God is giving you for all time. Then Moses set apart 3 cities of refuge east of the Jordan River. Anyone who killed another person unintentionally without previous hostility would flee there to live in safety. These were the cities: Bezer on the wilderness plateau for the tribe of Reuben, Ramoth and Gilead for the tribe of Gad, Golan and Bashan for the tribe of Manasseh. This is the body of instruction that Moses presented to the Israelites. These are the laws, decrees, and regulations that Moses gave to the people of Israel when they left Egypt, and as they camped in the valley near Beth Peor, east of the Jordan River. This land was formerly occupied by the Amorites under King Sihon, who ruled from Heshbon. But Moses and the Israelites destroyed him and his people when they came up from Egypt. Israel took possession of his land and that of King Og of Bashan, the 2 Amorite kings east of the Jordan. So Israel conquered the entire area from Aroer to the edge of the Arnon Gorge all the way to Mount Sirion, also called Mount Harmon. And they conquered the east plank of the Jordan River, as far south as the Dead Sea, below the slopes of Pisgah. Psalm 36. For the choir director, a psalm of David, the servant of the Lord. Sin whispers to the wicked deep within their hearts. They have no fear of God at all. In their blind conceit they cannot see how wicked they really are. Everything they say is crooked and deceitful. They refuse to act wisely or do good. They lie awake at night, hatching sinful plots. Their actions are never good. They make no attempt to turn from evil. Your unfailing love, O Lord, is as vast as the heavens. Your faithfulness reaches beyond the clouds. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains, your justice like the ocean depths. You care for people and animals alike, O Lord. How precious is your unfailing love, O God! All humanity finds shelter in the shadow of your wings. You feed them from the abundance of your own house, letting them drink from your rivers of delight. For you are the fountain of life, the light by which we see. Pour out your unfailing love on those who love you. Give justice to those with honest hearts. Don't let the proud trample me or the wicked push me around. Look, those who do evil have fallen. They are thrown down, never to rise again. Mark 13. As Jesus was leaving the temple that day, one of his disciples said, "Teacher, Look at these magnificent buildings. Look at the impressive stones in the walls. Jesus replied, Yes, look at these great buildings. But they will be completely demolished. Not one stone will be left on top of another. Later, Jesus sat on the Mount of Olives across the valley from the temple. Peter, James, John, and Andrew came to him privately and asked him, Tell us, when will all this happen? What sign will show us that these things are about to be fulfilled? Jesus replied, Don't let anyone mislead you, for many will come in my name claiming I am the Messiah. They will deceive many, and you will hear of wars and threats of wars. But don't panic. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately. Nation will go to war against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in many parts of the world, as well as famines. But this is only the first of the birth pains, with more to come. When these things begin to happen, watch out. You'll be handed over to the local councils and beaten in the synagogues. You'll stand trial before governors and kings because you are my followers. But this will be your opportunity to tell them about me. For the good news must be preached to all the nations. But when you are arrested and stand trial, don't worry in advance about what to say. Just say what God tells you at that time. For it is not you who will be speaking, but the Holy Spirit. A brother will betray his brother to death, a father will betray his own child, and children will rebel against their parents and cause them to be killed. And everyone will hate you because you are my followers. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. The day is coming when you will see the sacrilegious object that causes desecration standing where he should not be. Reader, pay attention. Then those in Judea must flee to the hills. A person out on the deck of a roof must not go down into the house to pack. A person out in the field must not return even to get a coat. How terrible it will be for a pregnant woman and for nursing mothers in those days. And pray that your flight will not be in winter. For there will be greater anguish in those days than at any time since God created the world. And it will never be so great again, in fact, unless the Lord shortened that time of calamity. Not a single person will survive. But for the sake of his chosen ones, he has shortened those days. Then if anyone tells you, Look, here's the Messiah, or there he is, don't believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will rise up and perform signs and wonders so as to deceive, if possible, even God's chosen ones. Watch out! I have warned you about this ahead of time. At that time, after the anguish of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will give no light, the stars will fall from the sky, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. Then everyone will see the Son of Man coming on clouds with great power and glory. And he will send out his angels to gather his chosen ones from all over the world, from the farthest ends of the earth and heaven. Now learn a lesson from the fig tree. When its branches bud and its leaves begin to sprout, you know that summer is near. In the same way, when you see all these things taking place, you can know that his return is very near, right at the door. I tell you the truth, this generation will not pass from the scene before all these things take place. Heaven and earth will disappear, but my words will never disappear. However, no one knows the day or hour when these things will happen, not even the angels in heaven or the Son himself. Only the Father knows. And since you don't know when that time will come, be on guard, stay alert. The coming of the Son of Man can be illustrated by the story of a man going on a long trip. When he left home, he gave each of his slaves instructions about the work they were to do, and he told the gatekeeper to watch for his return. You too must keep watch, for you don't know when the master of the household will return, in the evening, at midnight, before dawn, or at daybreak. Don't let him find you sleeping when he arrives without warning. I say to you what I say to everyone. Watch for him. And now, Lord, we keep watch, and we ask your blessing on the reading and the hearing of your word. Amen. What I say to you, I say to everyone, watch. Those are Jesus' final words in Mark 13. Back when I was much younger in college, during the summer, I worked on a boat in the Bering Sea. One of the responsibilities we had was to keep watch. If you were a bystander up in the wheelhouse, it might look like keeping watch wasn't a very active thing to do. However, it was anything but passive. You had to stay alert. It was absolutely critical that you had someone on watch at all times. The person on watch had to make course corrections to ensure that the ship was on course and heading in the right direction. The safety of the vessel and crew was in the hands of the person at watch. To fail at your duty on watch was an offense worthy of being fired. You had the responsibility to keep people safe, to avoid rocks, other boats, keep from running aground. Keeping watch was anything but passive time. It was active time. If you were passive, you ran the risk of being lulled to sleep. Well, Peter, James, John, Andrew, they all come to Jesus. They want to know about future events. They want to know when the kingdom of God is going to be fully established. They want to know when all this is going to take place and when the world's going to be made right again. The answer they are given offers them little satisfaction. Jesus says, about the time or day no one knows, not even the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. Jesus tells them that in light of that fact, it's important to do those things that diligent watchkeepers do. Stay alert. Be vigilant. Build routines into your watch hours. Ensure that you remain awake, because the stakes are too high. The safety and welfare of the lives around you are in jeopardy if you're not keeping watch. We must be faithful to keep watch for the sake of our family, our marriage, for those in our church, for our neighbors, for the crew. But there's encouragement for us to stay vigilant during the long watches of the night. That's because He is keeping watch with us. He is with us every hour, and we can learn from Him through the watches of night. The stakes are high, but the company's good. Psalm 42:8 says, "But each day the Lord pours His unfailing love upon me, and through each night I sing His songs, praying to God who gives me life." He gives us a song in the night as we vigilantly keep watch, as we build routines into the watch hours. And that's what I want this podcast to be for all of us. May it be a place where we learn to keep watch, to wait for God, to experience His presence while we wait. May we know His songs as we wait for His return. Keep watch. That's the prayer that I have for my own soul. That's the prayer that I have for my family, for my wife and my daughters and my son. And that's the prayer that I have for you. May it be so. DailyRadioBible.com is our home base on the interwebs. That's where you can stop on by anytime, and we're always glad when you do. Another thing that puts a smile on our face is when you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. When you tell people about what's going on here. That's a bonus for us. And I know that many of you, in fact, most of you, are here because somebody invited you. And if we had a lot of money, which we don't, and we spent a lot of money, which we don't, on advertising, nothing really beats just somebody telling somebody else what's helping them. And if this podcast has helped you in any way, if it's encouraged your soul, if it's helped you to take another step into a new day, well, we think that's important, and it's important to share those things that are good. So when you got a moment, you share it with somebody, will you? Well, hey, I'm gonna come back here again tomorrow, and we'll share some more. We'll break open the scriptures. We'll focus our hearts, our minds on those things that are good and true. We'll have the Bible point us in the direction of Jesus. That's where we'll go. So let's show up again tomorrow and do it again. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Your brother Hunter plans on being here. Until that time, let's go forward in God's joy. Let's let His joy be our strength. And let us always remember this. Ready for this? That you are loved. No doubt about it. Alrighty? I'll talk to you again tomorrow. You guys take care.